If you think having the ultimate life is just having money, well, if you got money, but you don't have time freedom, what is that money for?
Welcome to the Bedros Keuilian Show.
Here is the brutally honest truth. For most of us, our parents, the school system did a terrible job getting us ready for life. And so what I'm going to teach you in this episode is the ultimate life hack, so that if you have goals, you have things you want to achieve, you're going to achieve them, and you're going to figure out how to make your life meaningful, successful, profitable, and worthy of something that is beyond just sitting on the couch, imprinting your ass, Cheeto dust in your belly button, playing video games, and feeling depressed and anxious for the rest of your existence. So let's dive right into this. Now, for me, again, it started when I met my rich dad. And if you've been watching or listening to the BK show long enough, you know that my rich dad, for lack of a better term, was Jim Franco. Now, my real dad, who I love to pieces, risked his life and brought our entire family from the Soviet Union to the United States when I was 6 years old. Like, he's a freaking hero, man. But my dad really didn't understand how to hack life and to get the most out of life. He has work ethic, and so he worked and worked and worked when we got here, and we were able to go from Section 8 housing and the food stamp system and welfare system to having our own apartment and then ultimately buying a house. But he had a little tailor shop, and he just worked in his tailor shop, and he did that for 30 some odd years until he retired. Not a bad way to live. But did I also hear my dad complain? Did I also see my dad fatigue and get tired? Did I also see my dad not necessarily living the purpose that he wanted and having the experiences? He always wanted to, take himself and my mom on these beautiful trips to the Mediterranean, and he was never able to. By the time I made enough money to be able to send them on trips like that, he was afraid to go on trips like that because he said he was getting too old, right? And so you don't want your best years to go past you and realize that, gosh, now I'm living a life of regret. I never had any significance or purpose. And looking back, I hate my life because there is no trial run. Like, this is it. This is the real deal. So for me, Jim Franco was a massive, massive influence. Now, I was 22, 23 years old working as a personal trainer when I met Jim Franco. He at the time was 62 or 63 years old, and he had this giant software company. Jim Franco would come to LA Fitness and he'd train with me 3, sometimes 4 days a week. And, one day I asked him, like, Jim, how is it that you get here at 2 PM? And I see that you show up with different cars all the time. You're always happy-go-lucky. You seem to just kind of know your way through life. How is it that you've achieved that? He goes, well, I've actually created a life plan. I was like, what the fuck is a life plan? And so while I was his personal trainer, Jim Franco was kind enough to mentor me. And that's how he became my rich dad, kind of like Robert Kiyosaki's book, right? Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And so Jim Franco over time started to ask me 3 questions that really got me thinking. And those 3 questions was this: what do you want out of life? What do you want in terms of like money, relationship, health, possessions, and experiences? No one ever thinks about that, right? No, your parents didn't tell you. Your school system didn't tell you. No school teacher asked you, what do you want out of life? At most, they might say, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you go, firefighter or police officer, or I want to own my own business, but there's no game plan. So Jim Franco specifically asked me 3 questions. He said, what do you want? And that got me thinking. And he said, when do you want it by? Holy shit, now we're going to assign a date to a vision, right? And then he said, what are you willing to eliminate to get it? Those 3 questions became my framework. And as I started to ask Jim Franco more questions in terms of, well, how do I create this plan for my life and then have it unfold in front of me so that I could have the most amount of time freedom, which is what I was looking for, because I was working 3 jobs. When I was a personal trainer for Jim Franco working at LA Fitness, I was also a fry cook and busboy at Disneyland. And I was also a bouncer at a gay bar called Oz in Buena Park, California. And so like I'm working around the clock and at the same time trying to work out and eat right and get a little bit of sleep and then, 3 jobs, right? And so for me, it made sense to be able to ask a millionaire who seems to be happy, fulfilled, has absolute control of his time and his energy, What do I need to get there? No one had ever taught me that. And it's not our parents' fault. It's not the school system's fault. Each of them did the best they can. Your parents truly did the best they can. My parents did the best they could by bringing me to the United States, instilling work ethic in me, and saying, work hard and you'll achieve your dreams. However, if I just have a vague dream, but I don't have a date attached to it, and I don't know what I need to do and what I need to eliminate out of my life to achieve that dream, I'm likely not going to achieve that. That's why so many people's dreams live in their head. And so I created a framework based on what Jim Franco taught me, a multimillionaire, and this framework is going to work for you because it's worked for me. I've been able to build an empire. I've built and sold 2 major companies. I'm on the way of actually selling a 3rd company right now. And I currently have 5 other companies under my belt that I'm scaling and growing. I'm also doing the same thing with dozens of my coaching clients, and every single one of them are following this framework to have this ultimate life, right? Because if you think having the ultimate life is just having money, well, if you got money, but you don't have time freedom, what is that money for, right? Or you've got money and time freedom, but you don't have any health. Or you've got money, time freedom, health, but you don't have a relationship. You don't have anyone who loves you, who you love, who you want to spend time with and connect with and be best friends with and have life experiences with. So as you can imagine, your life is really a byproduct of what you chart out, right? And so the way I see it here is this. It starts off with these 3 steps: see it, believe it, achieve it. And so the see it part is actually easier than you think, because you probably already see a vague picture of what kind of life you want in your mind's eye. And by the way, if you're like, man, but I'm 40, I wish I was in my teens and 20s hearing this message so that I could actually do something about it. Bro, the framework I'm about to give you, within 12 months, you can be well on your way to having your ultimate life. See, most people think like it's going to take 3 years and 5 years and 10 years. Hey, look, if you're trying to build $100 million business like I have, right? It's going to be a decade of work. But if you want a life that's significantly better than you have today, where you have some sense of meaning and purpose, where you've got friends and people in your life who give a shit about you and push you to achieve your goals and life's ambitions, and you've got a partner who loves you and cares for you and you're having awesome experiences with them, you've got kids that you can pour into because unlike our parents, you're not just saying, hey, work hard and have big dreams and maybe you'll achieve it, right? So you can achieve this. 12 months, you can achieve a lot of these things that I'm talking about here. But the first step is seeing it, right? Which is vision, right? Think about that. Seeing things means you have vision. So you have to take that idea from your mind and put it on paper. When you write down specifically what it is that you want from life in the categories that matter to you, relationship, health, finances, freedom, faith, right? If you write down those specific things that you want, your vision, and now you've got something that you could see, right? So if you could see it, we're well on our way. But there's another component to seeing it, and this is something that Jim Franco taught me. And we later, when I say we, myself and Craig Ballantyne, you might have heard me talk about Craig Ballantyne before on this show. He wrote a great book called Perfect Day Formula. And Craig Ballantyne and I, about 15 years ago, were running a mastermind for info marketers, people that have information products, courses, ebooks, coaching programs that are kind of do-it-yourself, follow-along things, right? And Craig would always tell our coaching clients, he would say, look, I get that you're making money, but if you don't know how much money you want to have the lifestyle that you want, the freedom that you want, the experiences that you want, then making a lot of money is kind of irrelevant, right? So you have to write the lifestyle. So that's the vision. And so when you write something down, you can come back and revisit it. And I'm a big fan of revisiting my goals every single day. If I've written down goals in the 5 categories of life that I just talked about, I just want to read it. So it might be hanging somewhere. It might be on my phone. It might be in my office. Now for me, it's in 3 different areas. On this journal that I'm always, taking notes on and outlining show episodes for you guys. It's on my phone, and it's also upstairs in my office. And I know what my life goals are. 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year, right? And every year they readjust as I achieve those goals. Hey guys, quick interruption to the Bedros Keuilian Show. I took some time to go to the local juice stores here in town, and I bought all these different ginger, turmeric, and wellness shots. Now, they range anywhere from $3.69 all the way to $4.05. And to be honest with you, they all suck. Why? Because they do not have anywhere near the wonderful ingredients of the Keuilian Wellness Shot. First of all, to build your immune system and keep your immune system strong, Keuilian Wellness Shot is packed with vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc. And also to help you fight off inflammation, it is packed with turmeric, ginger, and black pepper. And to keep you hydrated, Keuilian Wellness Shots have sodium, potassium, and magnesium. This is the ultimate morning supplement. Just take one packet, pour it in 4 ounces of water, and shoot it, and you're good to go. Best of all, $1.69 per packet instead of twice the price of those other inferior ones. I want you to get 50% off your first 30-day supply. So go to Keuilian.com, use my name Bedros, and you can get 50% off plus free shipping, a 30-day money-back guarantee, and $1 gets donated to Shriners Children's Hospital. Best of all, if you like the Keuilian Wellness Shots, and I know you will, like thousands of other people who are part of the Keuilian tribe, every month we'll send you a new supply at 20% off, free shipping. So go to Keuilian.com, use my name Bedros, and get your 50% discount code before it goes away. Back to the show. And so, but if you see it, it becomes more real. But what Craig also taught is to give yourself the experiences. So if you want to be a millionaire, for example, right? You're like, okay, I want to be a millionaire. I want a net worth of $5 million. Cool. What kind of life would a millionaire have? Oh, well, he might stay at the Montage at Laguna Beach or in Maui, or he might stay at the Four Seasons in this part of, Thailand or something, right? And well, if that's the case, can you go to these places and maybe just hang out in the lobby? If you think like they would drive this type of car, can you go to a car dealership and just test drive the kind of car that you want to own when you're a multimillionaire? If you're like, man, this type of person would own a mansion in this part of town, can you go to that part of town on that street and visit homes like that? I'm not saying knock on the doors and on strangers' doors and walk into the house, but can you actually see the home? Because what ends up happening is when you start giving yourself these millionaire experiences, right? You end up programming your mind that, okay, I see my goals every single day written down, my vision, my goals are written down every single day, and therefore they're being embedded in my subconscious mind. Now, if you can go and actually have some of those experiences, spend a night at the hotel. If you can't afford that hotel, hang out in that lobby, maybe have dinner at that hotel lobby, go and test drive the car that you want, or at least go visit it and see if you can just sit in it, and go into the stores that you would want to buy from. I'm not into fancy anything, so I'm not like into Gucci or Louis Vuitton or whatever, but if you're like, hey man, that's going to be my thing, go into a Gucci store, go into a Louis Vuitton store and touch and experience the things. That doesn't mean you have to spend the money and waste the money right now that you don't have. But you start positioning this in your subconscious mind to want it and for your mind to know that I've come close to getting it, right? And when you have written your goals down, when you see it on paper, and then when you see it in person by periodically giving yourself these experiences, it becomes more real and subconscious mind starts working on achievement, right? So that's the seeing part. And if you're not going to write those goals down and you're not going to go give yourself the millionaire experiences, then you're probably not going to achieve it. Now, when you see it, you also have to see a deadline to it. Like, when do I want to get this house? When do I want to have a $100 million business, right? Like, I remember thinking I'm going to build Fit Body Bootcamp and it's going to become a 9-figure business, a business that generates $100 million a year. Now, to say that is one thing, but then to attach a date to it, which was a few years down the road, I was now able to go, well, if I'm going to achieve a $100 million business 4 years down the road, these are the things I need to do on a daily basis to achieve those goals. These are the people I need to hire. These are the ads I need to run. This is a sales process we need to have. This is how we need to support our franchisees. This is how we need to scale and grow across the United States and then into Canada and then into Europe, right? And so now when you have a vision and you have a date attached to it, boom, magic happens. What happens next? Believe, right? Because when you see it, it's one thing, but you have to now believe it. Now, believe simply means, do you believe you're capable of achieving it? A belief system. And belief system breaks down into 3 categories, guys. And I want to teach you this because this is massively important. Because if you have one of these 3 belief systems, and 2 of them are horrible, 1 of them are good for you. If you have the 2 horrible ones or 1 of the horrible ones, you're not going to achieve the outcome. Horrible belief system number 1 is limiting beliefs. This means that you feel that you're not capable of achieving what other person achieved, right? A limiting belief. You go, hey, I'm a foreigner to this country. I'm black, I'm Mexican, I'm Asian, I'm white, I'm blue collar. Okay, great. That's a limiting belief. I'm not smart enough. That's a limiting belief. And then there's the next one, which is a negative belief. If you have negative belief systems, like, oh, rich people are assholes. I think that, people who are lean and jacked and have abs are vain and they're just, self-centered. If you have negative belief systems, you're not going to achieve your goals. So there's the third belief system that you need, which is the limitless belief system. And the limitless belief system says that, hey, maybe right now I don't have what it takes to become a millionaire or to have abs or to have the perfect relationship, but I know there's a path to it, and I know others have achieved it, and I can go find those people who have achieved it because success leaves clues. I can model success and achieve that as well, right? Now, a limitless belief system says that I could acquire and get what I want. A limitless belief system says that, hey, maybe there are some rich assholes driving in Lamborghinis and Ferraris, but when I get a Lamborghini or Ferrari, I'm not going to be an asshole. I'm going to be rich, and I'm going to be generous, I'm going to be kind, I'm going to be compassionate, but I'm going to be rich and kind and not a rich asshole. Because if you believe that all rich people who drive expensive cars are assholes, you will do everything in your power to not achieve that. All of that will happen subconsciously. You won't even realize it, right? So once you see it, you have the vision, you've written it down, and then you're giving yourself the experiences to touch it, feel it, experience it, see it, get inside of it. Then you have that belief system. You have to believe that you could achieve it by having this limitless belief system. Then the third and final step of that is to lean towards action, which is achieve it. And if you're going to achieve it, that means you have to relentlessly and in a most determined fashion, lean into action. Remember, I told you Jim Franco asked me 3 questions. He said, do you know what it is that you want? I was like, oh, shoot, that's the vision, right? He says, do you know when you want it by? Okay, that's the deadline. We have to have a deadline. Now, a dream becomes a goal once we attach a date to it. Then he said, what will you eliminate to get it? Notice he didn't say, what would you do to get it? What will you eliminate? For most of us, we have to eliminate shit out of our lives. The distractions of social media, the distractions of alcohol and vices and weed and pornography and gambling and video games and all the distractions and vices that are in your way. So what do you have to eliminate out of your life to achieve this thing? Because if you eliminate all of the distractions, if you eliminate all of the things that are going to stop you from taking action, all you have now is determined and relentless action taken daily towards your goals. Now, am I here to say that every single day is going to be a day where you win? No, absolutely not. But if you can eliminate all the distractions, you can eliminate all the negative people who don't belong in your life and aren't going to be with you on this journey. If you could be ruthless in the way you manage your energy, your focus, and your effort, and you lean into the action, you will achieve the outcome on or around the date that you've assigned to it. Like, that is how I've built empires. That is how I've sold companies. That is how I've had these 2 amazing kids, Andrew and Chloe, my relationship, my health. All of it is a byproduct of seeing it, believing it, and achieving it through action by eliminating the distractions and leaning towards the things that I need to do to achieve the desired goal. And then that becomes something that creates inertia, momentum. And you know how it is. When you are in a winning momentum, you tend to win more. If you're in a losing momentum in life, you're probably going to lose more. So if you're stuck right now in life, you feel like you're failing in life, life's not giving you a fair shake, I get it. It's going to take a lot of effort for you to get some momentum going. So what do? Well, start stacking small wins. Start doing things that you normally don't do that are going to produce the outcome that you have now outlined in your vision statement, right? And when you do, you will start having these limitless beliefs. And then you will see that achievement is possible. And that is the beautiful thing about hacking life. School system doesn't teach you. Your parents haven't taught you. Grandparents, uncles, aunts don't teach you. Your coworkers and friends will be like, bro, you're crazy. We're just supposed to get a degree, be in debt, go get a job, barely make it by, end up having credit card debt, school debt, mortgage debt. And then when you die, you're going to pass along that debt to your kids. You don't have to live that way. And no matter your age right now, I don't care if you're in your 20s or you're in your 40s and 50s, it's never too late. But you've got to do this. And this is how you hack life and live a life well lived. Guys, I hope I get to see you at BK Live, May 31st at the Grove Theater in Anaheim, California. More than 50% of the seats are sold out. We're going to be focusing on building businesses, scaling organizations, making more money, hiring teams, leading yourself and others, lead generation, sales, systems and processes, as well as self-development, self-mastery, and finding meaning and purpose in the work you do. Like BK Live is one full day of mastery of business, meaning, and self. And I hope I get to see you guys there. But in the meantime, remember this, that average is the enemy, that success is your responsibility, and change can take place in an instant if you are willing to flip the switch. I'll see you next time.